actually going to stencil 2 for you today, and then I'm going to put together the card that I've already prepped. So what I'm stenciling today I'm not going to use. I'm going to use what I've already prepped yesterday, okay? But I so want to show you this fabulous set, and I just love this bit. This makes all the difference. Let's just quickly run through what I'm going to be using, and then I will show you the 2 lots of stenciling I'm doing. I'm going to do one on white card and one on black card, and the one that I've already prepped is on white card. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, really you don't need a huge amount of inks. The one I'm doing on white card I'm using 3 colours, and the one I'm doing on black card I'm only using 2 colours. Okay, right, I'm going to run through what I'm using and then I'm going to make a start. So I'm obviously going to be using these 2 beauties. Now you don't have to emboss it, but oh my word, it's so worth it if you do. You don't have to use the little die that comes in here to cut this middle bit out. You can, you don't have to. You can make it into a shaker card. You could just make it so that this piece is a different colour, whatever you want. So use it or don't use it, but the embossing folder just makes everything pop. It's adorable, it's absolutely fabulous. So we're using those. I'm going to leave that there so as I can see what I'm doing. I'm using the foiled and plain sticker sentiments, no longer in stock, no longer available. I'm also using the rose corner. I've already done this bit because it's on the card that I've already prepped. I'm using this because I just thought that the roses on here really complemented the roses on the heart of roses. So I'm using that as a stopper on an easel card. Okay, so I've used the stencils and I've used the embossing folder. I've also used the wood panel, and that's on the one that I've already prepped. Did I use the stars? Yes, I've used the tiny stars again on the one I've prepped, but not just as an A6. I've made it a little bit bigger like I did on my nighttime mushroom house card. I've just moved the folder around on my paper to make it bigger. And I've also used the smaller sentiments in the scripted edges, so I haven't used these big ones. I've just used birthday and wishes out of the smaller dies. I've also used the congratulations out of the shadowed words, and I've used the nested stitch bubble squares as the basis of one of my cards. So number 1, now this you can either use or not use. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to, but I just think it sets off the whole image. I just think it's just perfect. And the colours that I'm going to use today are Pina Colada, Sugar Candy and Margarita. And this is on the white one. So I'm using interference inks on the black one, and I'm only using 2 different pads. Okay, so on this back bit here, what I liked to do with the one that I've already prepped, I've done exactly the same sort of thing. I've just randomly placed the colours that I've used in the design around the outside, and I just love the effect that you get with this, with these like sort of, they're almost like little eggs. They're the shape of little eggs, and they're just fabulous. They just set the whole thing off fabulously. I don't think I've ever seen anything that looks so, I don't know, it just leaps off the page. It really does. It's just amazing. So I'm going right totally random with these colours. Like I say, Pina Colada, Sugar Candy and Margarita, and that's only because those are the colours that I've used in the flowers. Alright, so we'll come in here with the Margarita. Not that Margarita looks particularly different to the Pina Colada, because they're both sort of quite vivid colours, but when I add the pink it should break it up quite a bit. So again, really totally random, going in here with this Margarita, and then we'll come in and we'll add this Sugar Candy and just fill in those gaps, and you'll see where it overlaps I'm going to get an extra colour. So I'm going to get sort of a nice peachy colour So I'll just lift this up. Look at that. Doesn't that look, it looks nothing now, but trust me, when I've finished, it will look amazing. It really will. So on this heart, what I try and do, what I've tried to do with the other one, is go different colours to what I've used on this outside piece. And try and just make it different. So where I've started with pink here, I'm going to go in with the yellow. So wherever there's a bit of pink, I'm going to go in yellow. So over here, and we'll do that bit yellow as well. And then where the yellow is, or the green, I'm going to go in with pink. I'm only using 2 colours on this heart, because I think it would get a little bit too much if I tried to use all 3. Okay, we'll go over that one. Okay, so that's number 2. Look at that. Doesn't it look fab? Right, so these are my leaves. So this is where I thought, well, I will add a bit of green. On the others that I've done, I've literally used 2 colours. And really what I wanted to say was, you don't need loads and loads of colours, because A, you can make different colours with mixing and blending these inks, because they do blend as opposed to sit on top of one another and just look horrible muddy colour. They look amazing when you blend them. So, you know, if you don't like one colour, add something else over the top of it and see what you end up with, because you'd be surprised at some of the colours that you can achieve just by mixing your base colours. Now normally I would add another colour into those leaves from the edge. I don't think I'm going to bother with this one, because there's a lot of interest on this anyway, so I don't want to particularly overcomplicate it. But on this second set of leaves, I'm going to go slightly heavier with this Margarita. You all know I love this colour. It's just stunning. It's so vivid, so bright. I just think it will lift any card. So we're going in, filling all those little leaf apertures. And as I say, I'm going quite heavy because the first lot that I put down were a little bit lighter. So that's where I will get a different, see, my leaves look a different colour, although I've only used one colour. Okay. So on here, I think what I'll do actually is I'm going to go in with the Pina Colada on these leaves, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of green on the edges, just to make these leaves look a little bit different to all the rest. They probably won't look hugely different, because as I say, the Pina Colada and the Margarita are quite similar in colour, but they might just give a little bit of different colour just to lift them a little bit and make them look a little bit different. So again, it's like experiment with your colours and see what you end up with. And sometimes you'll think one thing and end up with something totally different. So just do those edges and then leave it at that. Yeah, like that. Now these, I adore these. I think these are fabulous. I'm going to come in here with the sugar candy, and I'm going to be quite heavy with this because I want these little flowers to stand out. I think these are adorable. And there's a scroll on here as well, which is going to be exactly the same colour. And these will stand out beautifully. Look at that. How gorgeous does that look? I'm not saying that because they're mine. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. But I just think these look so different depending on what colour you use. And you'll see what I mean when I show you the colours. Now I'm going to do the base of these in Pina Colada, okay? And then I'm going to come in with the detail in Sugar Candy, so that I'm going to get a sort of a peachy colour as opposed to a yellow or a pink. Don't use the pink on your yellow pad though, Dawn, because it'll look a mess. So I'm going to use my Wonder Brush, primarily because it gives me such a quick and even coverage. So I'm doing it for speed really. I mean, you can use your stencil brushes, but sometimes I put too much on the stencil brush and then I come in and I've got ink too heavy where I don't want it. So I'm going to try and keep it light. Now, when you come to your scrolls on your heart, you can either do those one solid colour, or you can do like I've done on the heart and mix and match it. So because I've got pink here, I'm going to come in with yellow, and then I'm going to do that bit pink and then that bit yellow, just to make it look a little bit different really, just so that it matches in with everything else. So down here where my heart is pink, my scroll is going to be yellow, and then I can add my pink and blend it in, and it's going to look a little bit peachy. Okay, and I think I'm just going to go and make those a little bit peachy too, just to make them look a bit different. Oh, I'm liking this. So now I'm going to come in here with my sugar candy, but I'm going to start in the middle and I'm going to work my way out. So I'm going to end up with a sort of what's that rose, is it called Paradise, where you get sort of a peachy tone, but it's sort of it's not a solid colour, it's a sort of a really mix and match sort of colour, but I just like the colour it gives you. So I'm going to go from the middle on all these little flowers, all these little roses, and then what I might do is come in, I might put the solid piece back and just add a little bit of colour coming in from the edge. Yeah, I like that. I'm going in here with the yellow, just so that it sort of stands out against that sugar candy. And I just think this is going to look so zingy and amazing. I'll just colour that other little scroll there. Start with the yellow and then just add the pink and blend it in. And then I'm going to take that off, I'm going to add the other one back, and I'm going to come in on the edge here with my sugar candy. So I'm going to make this a little bit deeper around the edges, just to sort of give a little bit of shade into the edges of the petals. I don't want to colour the whole thing with that sugar candy. I want them to be still some yellow in here. So I'm literally going right round the edge of these petals with that sugar candy, just to add a little bit of interest really. Not too heavy, but just heavy enough to give you a bit of enough of a shadow that you can see it. Okay, I'll take that off there. I like that, I think that's fab. And then we're going to come in and we're going to put the detail on the leaves. Now I'm going to go in here with my sugar candy because I just want to lift those leaves. I don't want to go with a darker green. I'm literally sticking to these three colours, and I think that the sugar candy will just be the right sort of colour. Not too heavy, because I don't want the veins on the leaves to overpower the actual leaves. So I'm taking quite a bit off on the stencil, and then when I've run out of ink, I'm coming back to the ink that I've put on the stencil, rather than going back to the ink pad and straight onto the stencil. That way you just don't run that risk of going just that little bit too heavy. Okay, so it's all about, you can always add more, but once you've added it down, you're stuck with it. You can't really take it away. You could probably try and blend it out with maybe a bit of white, but then you'd have to stop and clean your stencil first, because you don't want to contaminate your white ink pad. So just going in here, and then I'll just lift it up and make sure I'm happy with the veins before I just finish it off, and then we'll go to the one on the black card, because the one on the black is amazing. I mean, this is fabulous. It's really, really, lifts my spirits stenciling stuff like this, because you're just left with something that looks amazing when you're finished. Now, That might look nothing now, but I promise you, once you emboss it, I'm not sure if it will fit in the embossing folder because I need to trim the edges, but let's just have a look and see if we can get it to fit, and then I can run it through and show you what I mean. So bear with while I just line this up, because I don't want to get it wrong after I've spent all that time stenciling it. And if you line the little bubbles up, everything else should line up as well. Okay, so just let me run this through. Let me just move those, and I'll show you what I mean about how much it lifts what you've coloured. I think I need a bit of grease on my spindle. Okay. Look at that! Doesn't that look amazing? I think that is fab. Isn't that just gorgeous? The detail on here. Look at the deboss side. Look at the detail on that deboss. It is stunning. Absolutely stunning. Let me come this side because I'm in the wrong place there. But it's just incredible. And the colours, where that embossing lifts those colours, I think it just makes that card. Now that, once I've trimmed that down, is just going to sit on there like that. I'm literally going to trim those white edges off. I'm just going to pop that in the middle there and then put a sentiment in here. Okay, so it's so simple. It's just genius. I love this set. I adore this set. So let's do the black one, and the black one is going to look totally different, apart from the fact it's on black card, not white. That's going to make it look different anyway, isn't it? But I wanted to show you what it looks like with the interference inks. Now, I'm not going to clean these because I'd have to go away into the other room and wash them off, but I really don't think it needs it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up so that I can see that I've got my stencil in the right place, but I'm not actually going to use this stencil now. Okay, I'm going to use this at the end. All right, now it might look not quite straight, but don't worry about that, because when I've finished it won't matter, because I'm going to trim it down anyway once it's dry. So just put a little bit of tape there and there, and then that's not going to move. All right, and I'm going to come in here, and I am literally going to use two colours on this, and I'm using interference inks, and these are from set 1. Set 2 will be coming to TV soon, but I wanted to use set 1. Okay, now what I wanted to try and do was do two-tone top and bottom. Okay, so I'm going to start with this beautiful fruit salad, sweet treat, because I want the pink. Okay, and I'm using, the other one that I'm using is warm chestnut, because I want the purple. See, I said there'd be pink and purple, didn't I? But will it look like pink and purple? That's the thing. So I'm going to start with the pink. I'm coming up here. I know it looks yellow, but it won't when it's on black card. And I'm literally coming halfway down that heart. Okay, just have to remember to put my sponges back on the right pads. Now this looks sort of a burgundy colour, but it isn't. It's going to look a fabulous purple when this is all dry. Oh, amazing. I'm going to have to wash these when I've finished, because they're going to be so wet. So we started with the yellow at the top. Let's move those round, and then hopefully I won't get confused. So we're going yellow at the top, which is going to be pink. And then we're going to come warm chestnut down the bottom, which is going to end up purple. Okay. And I'm using the sponges because the sponges keep the ink a little bit wetter than using the stencil brushes. Okay. And I just think that it's worth spending that little bit of extra time just blending it properly, I am going to dab that off because that is quite wet and I don't want it on the back of my stencil. And then we're going to come and we're going to do the same again, and we're going yellow at the top. Obviously you all think I've gone crackers. Why am I doing one colour at the top and one colour at the bottom? Well, when I show you the one that I did yesterday on black card, you'll see why. Okay, so just bear with me. Haven't completely lost my marbles, I promise. Might appear that way, but you know, I haven't. Again, yellow at the top. And I just love that on the sponges this stays quite wet, so you've got quite a lot of being able to move that ink around without keep going back to your ink pad to re-ink. Okay, so again, down the bottom with the warm chestnut, which is where my purple's going to be. Okay, so back to the yellow at the top. Like I said, don't worry about the ink that's already on the stencil. I really don't think it's going to make that much difference. It's not going to interfere with the colours that you're using. Okay, this is so quick, but it is so effective. And once you do the last bit, you'll see what I mean. So again, up at the top with that yellow, which is going to be pink. And you're only coming halfway down this flower, and you're only going halfway down that scroll. Now sometimes it might not pick all the ink up on that scroll, but you can always go back and use a stencil brush afterwards and just fill in any little bits that it's missed if you want to. I'll come in on that there. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. And again, exactly the same, yellow on the top and purple on the bottom. So again, filling in those apertures with your ink. Whoops. And again on that little scroll there. It might not pick this up because it's quite a tiny aperture and I'm using the sponges, but as I say, you can always go back and add a little bit more in. Now the detail might not show totally on the camera. Does it, doesn't it? Possibly. But it will do. Now the only thing that I'm going to do different on here is I'm going to swap the colours round so that I'm going to go darker at the top and lighter at the bottom, and hopefully those veins will show up better. Okay, because if I did them the same colour, then they obviously wouldn't show up, would they? So I'm going to go in with that warm chestnut on the top, and then I'm going to come in with the sweet treat on the bottom, and hopefully once it all dries out they will show up better. Okay, yay! They do, they do, they do. So now that we've done that, I want to add this detail on the back. Okay, but I don't want to use ink, right? So what I wanted to use was the glitter paste. So I'm just going to tape this down, and that's going to give me somewhere to take the glitter paste from across the stencil, and hopefully it won't spill off into that design. It shouldn't do. I did it differently yesterday, and I'll show you the one that I did yesterday in a sec. But by taping this off, you're giving the paste somewhere to go. Alright, so it's not going to sit on your silicone mat, it's going to sit on this tape here. Now then, what colours shall I use? I've used pink and purple on the flowers, so I haven't got a purple paste, but I have got the Aurora Lights, which has got sort of a purple in it, but it's sort of a pinky greeny purple, and I'm using the spiced apple, Honeycrisp apple, as my pink layer. So my pink on here is at the top and the purple is at the bottom. So I'm going to use pink paste at the bottom and whatever colour I use at the top up here. So do I use those two, or do I use gold and pink instead? What do you think? Gold. Yeah, you see I'm heading towards the gold. Gold and pink. Gold. Yeah. Right, gold and pink it is. So because I've used pink at the top on my flowers, I'm going gold on the top. Okay. I'm just going to use my spatula. Got a piece of kitchen towel here to take it off. I stirred all this yesterday, so I know it's pretty well mixed. And then I'm literally just going to come off that tape across here with this paste. I love this paste. It's fabulous stuff. So if you haven't got any, it's well worth an investment. It really is. It just lifts a card from being, oh, that's really nice, to, wow, that's amazing. Well, I think it does anyway. So, coming in with the gold at the top, a little bit more. I'm only going like sort of halfway down because that's what I did with the ink colour. Okay, so come down as far as that, I think. I don't think I'll go any further. And then just get rid of as much of that as I can. Wipe that off and then go in with the pink at the bottom. And you'll see on the one that I've already done, I used blue and gold. Oh my word, it looks amazing. Now, you might think, you haven't got much of that left on, but let me tell you, this will last you ages. Ages and ages and ages. So I'm coming in off the stencil this time and filling in those little bubbles. Now the thing that I like about this is it's got a hint of gold, a hint of purple, so it's going to just match in beautifully with the colours that I've used ink-wise. A bit more. But don't forget, wash your stencil as soon as you can, because this will stick to your stencil, and once you let it dry completely, it's a bit of a mare to get it off. So just be aware when you've used it, wash it off. Okay, so that should be sufficient. Just wipe that off there, and then lift off this tape. Now be careful when you lift the stencil off. Try and lift the tape without lifting the stencil, because you want to lift the stencil separately. Okay, so then lift the stencil, peel it back, oh my days, doesn't that look amazing? I just think it finishes a card. I just think they're just such stunning colours. They're not a solid colour. They're a really beautiful mix of colours, and I just think that, when I did the blue one yesterday, and I'll show you the blue one in a minute, I was just, wow, doesn't that look stunning? Now, the one I did yesterday looks totally different to this, because apart from anything else, they're different colours. But what I did yesterday was I did the background first, and then I thought, well, I've got to let that dry now. So I know what I can do. I stenciled onto the black, and then I embossed it, and then I cut this bit out. So I've 3D'd it. So let me show you the blue one that I did, and then we can, oops, see how different that one looks to that. And that's because I stenciled this first with the paste, and then I inked this bit, embossed it, and then cut it out. And because the embossing is so deep, you've got a perfect line to be able to follow to cut that out. fussy cutting that out is so easy. It's unbelievably easy. So, you know, don't be limited by just using it as a stencil, because there are so many different ways that you can use it, but I really like that. And I like the two-tone effect, you know, so that is literally 2 colours of ink and 2 colours of paste. But I just think it's beautiful. I like those a lot. So I've just put that there and that there, and move this out of the way because it's got paste all over it, and move me sticky tape because that's got paste all over it. And now I've got messy fingers, but it's so much fun. So this was the card that I prepped yesterday, okay, and I was making an easel card. So you can see here that I've used the tiny stars, and like I said, it isn't the A6 folder. All I've done is cut my square and just move the folder around so that I've got stars all over that piece of card, okay? So you can make it an A6 folder into whatever size you want to. I mean, that piece that was on the nighttime mushroom house was sort of, it was about 8 by 8. So, you know, you can just move that folder around and you can fill your card with little stars. So this is the base of my easel card, okay, that I started yesterday. And as you can see, I've just cut a piece of pink card, white card for my stars, embossed my card with my stars, and then just creased the card for my easel. This is the easiest easel card you'll ever make. It's a 7 by 7 card. And that is my corner rose corner, whichever it's called, can't remember. And then all I'm going to do is sit it so that both these points are level, and it just stops my little easel from moving forward. I've put pads on the back and I've double layered them, because I did put one layer on and tried it, and I thought it's not going to be deep enough and it's not going to stop that easel properly. So I added another layer of pads so that it's more a little bit higher, and it's going to do exactly what I want it to do. So I'm going to sit this here, making sure that it is, those 2 points are level. Okay, so my easel sits straight like that. Okay, and then I'm not going to put anything on the back here, because I'm going to leave this for where you write your greeting or whatever. All right, what I'm going to put on the front here is a piece of the fabulous wood panel, and I've already 3D'd this because I'm going to stick that on there. But then what I did was draw out where my Heart of Roses piece is going to sit on top of here, and I've added my pads to the wood panel as opposed to the back of the Heart of Roses, because I didn't want to go too high and the pads show on the back. All right, so I thought it'd be easier to stick the pads on the panel and then put the Heart of Roses piece down on top of it. So let me just take those off there, and you can see my little pencil marks where I drew it out so that I knew my Heart of Roses piece was going to sit in the right place. So that's going on there like so, and then take these off here, and then I can add my Heart of Roses on the top here. This paste doesn't take very long to dry. It's still a little bit tacky. If you leave it for about, I'd say 20 minutes to half an hour, it should be dry enough for you to carry on and finish card. I wouldn't post it the same day. I'd leave it till the day after. All right. Now you can see here that I've done exactly the same as I did on the one that I've demoed today, and randomly put the same colours from my image around the edge. And what I've used on this one was eucalyptus leaves and rhubarb jam. Okay, and I've literally used them in different pressures. That's the word I was looking for. I've used different pressure on my brush to give me different levels of colour. All right, so I've literally just used 2 colours on there. So then this is going to sit on here, but because I didn't want the embossing bit, the deboss, to be seen on the back, what I did was put a piece of texture card on the back, and I've put it back to front so that the actual texture is showing rather than the smoother side, because I don't think it looks as pretty. So I'm going to pop that down there like so. So then that will sit there like that as my easel card. And then I've just cut those birthday wishes, and all I did, excuse me, is inked a piece of white texture card with the same 2 colours and sort of made it into a bit of an ombre effect. So I started with the eucalyptus leaves at the bottom and then gone into rhubarb jam. And then I'm just going to add that down into that heart there. Okay, so if I just quickly glue that down, and then I can just show you the other card that I disastrously made, that I was going to demo but changed my mind because it was a complete and utter disaster, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So I'm just going to add my glue down to this fabulous little sentiment, and you can see that I've cut one in black to give it that little bit of a drop shadow, because just putting it as the ombre, it didn't really show up enough. It just didn't look right. It wasn't popping off the card properly. So I'm just going to add that down there like that, and then do the same on the wishes, and then I can show you the disaster card. Okay, so that's my birthday wishes on there, and that's my easel card. And I don't think it needs any more than that. I was considering gems, but I really don't think it needs it. Okay, so that's that one. That one I will add to a card at some point when it's dry. That was the one that I've already done. And this one, the colours I used on this one were these 2, Sapphire Gold and Royal Truffle. Okay, so the really blue bit is the Royal Truffle, and the goldy bit is the Sapphire Gold. And I just love the way these colours come out on black card. I just think they're fabulous. And then obviously I've got this one that I will finish off. And then this one, the colours that I used on this one were Surf's Up and Shocking Pink. Okay, and I just love the colours together. I like the way that they are blue and pink, but then you get that hint of purple as well while you're blending those 2 colours. Now, I was making it into a shaker card, but there really aren't very many bits in here that still shake around, because half of them are stuck to my tape, because I put the tape the wrong way round. I actually folded it in half, and I should have put it the other way round, and I didn't. So half my bits are stuck to my tape. But, you know, it still sort of looks like a shaker card, and I like the front. I might dismantle it and use it as something else, I don't know yet. But there are several different ways there of colouring this fabulous Heart and Roses to give you several different types of card. How could you not love this set? It's stunning. Absolutely. And it always works with everything else. Do you know what I mean? It's this Rose Corner works superbly well with the Heart of Roses. It's just meant to all work together. It's stunning, stunning. This one, rather than a birthday card, I thought while I was doing it would be good for a ruby wedding anniversary, because of the colours that I've used, because those are sort of really ruby colours, and that hint of green just makes it look a little bit different. So nobody else is going to send a card like that for a ruby wedding anniversary, are they? And everybody's cards are going to look different, do you know? Because you all use different colours, and you will all use slightly different techniques. So there will not be 2 the same. And I just think they're fabulous. So those are my cards for today. Okay, some finished, some not finished, but I will finish these two and I will add them to an album in the group so that everybody's got access to them all the time. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining me. There were an awful lot of you here today and I really do appreciate you all turning up. So thank you so much. So thank you for joining me. Have a fabulous week. Take care. Have a great week and I'll see you all very soon. Bye now.